The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 133 of the Daily Mother Swole. Today discussing flexing with your friends, and it's actually Olympia weekend in Vegas, so a lot of people are flexing with their friends. If you are into bodybuilding, it's the biggest bodybuilding competition of the year, so you can always check that out, and there'll be pay-per-view or online streaming, so if you want to see the swollest of the swoleolist, you can check that out. And what's really interesting is Kevin Levrone, he's like, 51 or 52, and he's came back and he's competing, and that's the big story because he was one of the greatest bodybuilders when I was growing up, and he is just ridiculous shape for his age. And I know they're juicing and everything, taking everything under the sun, but still it's a super impressive. So I think today they do the prejudging. I don't know if it's all today. I think it's the competitions tomorrow, the big show tomorrow, but we'll see. So if you're interested in that, check it out, look it up. And someone said something about Amazon, so you can check it out on Amazon. So let's talk about flexing with your friends and a little bit about training partners. And there's a few benefits to having a training partner. For one thing, you have someone to motivate you or to, I guess, in a way, demand that you go to the gym. So if you're meeting someone to work out, if you have plans, I'm going to meet Jim at the gym. I could have picked a different name. Bob at the gym at 3. More often than not, you're going to be at the gym at 3 o'clock. There's a few days specifically that stick out in my memory where I didn't want to work out, but I had to go because I didn't have to, have to do anything, but I went because I made plans to be somewhere at 3 o'clock or at 2 o'clock to work out with my partner, with a friend of mine, and I went and I did it. So it's a way to get it done. It's a way to keep yourself to a schedule that's a little bit more, that might adhere you to it a little bit more. It's less likely to make an excuse and cancel on someone. You're more likely to cancel on yourself. Another great thing about having a training partner are spots. You can have someone that's spotting you and watching you and helping you lift the weight if you need help, making sure that you stay safe when you're under load. And what that means is literally you're under duress, but also you're physically underweight. Like if you're doing squats, if you're doing bench press, they could maybe help you on the last couple reps of a pull-up, give you a little boost so you get a couple extra reps, give you a couple boost, a boost when you're doing a curl, when you're doing any kind of a rowing exercise like a dumbbell row or a lat pull down. Like a personal trainer, but if you have a training partner, you can usually help each other get a couple extra reps and get you just that much more out of your training. Number 3, it's that consistency. And that kind of goes a little bit along the lines of when you meet someone, when you have a schedule to be at the gym. But consistency, when you are training with someone else, you create that bond with another person. It makes it not a social event, not that you're going there just for entertainment, but it makes it something that you are going to, it's like going to school. It's hard to explain. It's like going to school. It's like going to a church group. Whatever you do in a group, whatever you do with other people, it creates that community, that little, even if it's a 2-person community or a 3-person community, it creates that little community, that routine. And routine is very important when you're getting in the gym. Routine is very important when you're trying to get in shape. Routine is very important when you're trying to lose weight. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do with anything. Routine is important. That creates the habit. When other people are around, that's actually the next one I was talking about. When you have someone else, you have that ego lifting that actually can benefit you. Now, ego lifting, what I mean by that is lifting more than you're really able to lift, but ego lifting is also when you're on display. It's more like display lifting, like you are a lion in the zoo and you see, there's a lot of people standing around, so you dance, you jump around and you roar and you perform. If there are people around watching you, you're more likely to perform, you're more likely to put out better effort. And it's like if there's a pretty girl or a good looking guy that walks by and you have like a burst of energy and you kind of like show off, you're like a rooster, bark, bark, bark. You start pushing your chest out and, showing your colors and showing your feathers. When you have a training partner, a lot of times you are trying to prove yourself not only to yourself, but to them, but to him, but to her. So you lift in an environment or in the view of other people that you, not that you're trying, not that you're trying to impress other people, not that you're, oh, I'm lifting, so I want to lift heavier so other people, don't think that I'm not good. No, you're trying to lift and you want to hold yourself more accountable because other people are looking at you and you know that they're looking at you. So you figure just I have to get this done because eyes are on me. And that's often the case true. The difference is that people really don't necessarily care. They don't care whether you lift the weight or not. They don't care what you're doing. They're thinking about themselves. That's the reality. But your reality, it can help you. And if you have someone that's in your group, whether you work out with 2 people or 3 people, some people like little workout groups. I'm going to talk about that next. But with one person, you don't want to let yourself down. You don't want to let them down. You don't want them to see you fail. You just don't want that to happen on many different levels. So you actually train harder and push a little bit more. You might get that last rep just where you wouldn't if you were alone. Plus, you have the spotter there, so it all helps and it's all motivating. It's all positive. But here is where it gets a little bit blurred. When I say flexing with your friends, that's why it's called that, because I see a lot of these 3, 4, and believe it or not, in the gyms, I've even seen these 5-person workout groups. Now, the 5-person workout groups, when you start getting a lot of people in a group training together, these groups of multiple dudes. Generally, you don't have like 5 women working out together. Yeah, usually have like maybe 2 girls or maybe 3, usually 2. But guys sometimes come in these packs, and you have 4 dudes, 5 dudes working out together. That is oftentimes rookie type behavior, just because a lot of them are standing around, they're doing curls, they're standing around. A few of them are just watching the other ones work out. You can't really have a good sequence unless you're really experienced and you plan it. When you have 5 people working out, like one person's doing an exercise and you kind of go one after the other and you rotate, it could be done that way, but usually isn't when it happens naturally in nature. In the wild, when you have 5 people working out together and they go into the gym and you see them looking around the weight room, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's crocodile hunter status. They don't know what they're doing. They're there the first time in the gym. Bottom line, they're in the gym, so it's better than them doing something else that's unhealthy or lazy or not working out. But the standing around, it loses the dynamic, the effectiveness of spotting, the effectiveness of the short rest, going back and forth, which is another benefit of a 2-person. It keeps you on a better pace with your training. In a big group, you oftentimes lose that. You're doing 1 exercise or 2 exercises, and if you have 5 people, you got 2 or 3 of them standing around watching, and there's too much rest. There's too much idle time. There's too much sitting around. And that's something you don't want to get into. That's something you don't want to deal with. But at the same time, when you're in high school, when you're young, maybe in college, these young guys going to the gym as a group, which is fine. At least they get into the gym, but it's usually not with the right purpose or the right training, intentions. But oftentimes we hope, at least I hope, that translates into something where they're going to be working out on their own and taking that through the rest of their life and taking it more seriously. But if you have the opportunity, try it. Not everyone likes working out with someone else. I personally don't prefer working out with another person. I like going freestyle, doing what I feel comfortable with, doing what I feel is appropriate for myself at the time. When you work out with someone else, sometimes there could be a different dynamic that might slow you down. You might have to be more instructional. You might have to rest longer. You might have to change the weights too much. That could also be an issue potentially if you don't plan properly. If you're a lot stronger than the other person, you have to take the weights off and put the weights back on, then take them off and put them on. If you don't know how to work with varying resistance or varying skills efficiently, it can slow down the workout a lot and be more frustrating than exciting and beneficial to both of you. So really it comes down to personality. I worked out with people that were in great shape. I worked out with people that were more beginner, and I've had both great workouts. It comes down to the person's intensity. It comes down to their mentality, their approach to the gym, how serious they take it. So the personality really is going to be the major factor that if you mesh with that person. If you hate the person and you just don't have any like connection, like friendship wise or at least respect wise, or you just don't mesh, it's not going to work out. I think that's kind of obvious almost. It's not going to work out. So you don't have to necessarily work out with your best friend in the entire world. You might argue a lot. You might just, rub and friction with each other a little bit too much in that kind of situation, kind of like even a relationship. A lot of times boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, and wives have trouble working out together because, when you kind of know or you're around someone so much, it's hard to take orders. Like people don't separate in relationships. They don't separate those types of like feelings and those kinds of energies in the gym with the relationship, and they cross over. But that's usually when people don't have an open communication line, and there's a lot of built up tension from other things that happen in their personal relationship, and then it spills out when someone tells them, oh no, do it like this. No, I'm doing it like this. It's like, oh my gosh, fuck that. Usually if you have a good relationship and a good communication with your spouse or your partner, you can translate that over into fitness in the gym with no problem. But if there's other things that are boiling that aren't dealt with, it's usually going to come out in like a fight or an argument. So that's another thing. But it's great if you could find someone to work out with. That's a partner, that's a romantic partner, but it's more important in that sense. Not that you necessarily work out together, but that there's support for what you do. And if it's really important for you to find someone that you work out with, then that's you, and that's what you're looking for. But it's really important to have that support no matter if they're there physically or not, because chances are you're not going to work out with them literally every day. There's going to be times when you work out on your own. So you have to make sure that there's support generally for fitness and for health. But flexing with your friends is fun. It can be great. It could also be great. You've seen some of the Swole motions I posted with that guy, Body by Nathan on Instagram. And he has a ton of followers, and he posts a lot of great of these like ninja training videos and creative things. And I work out with him now and again, and it's great for me because I'll do stuff that I don't normally do. I'll do a sequence I don't normally do. And I like to do what he does when we work out together. I don't want to do what I do because I'm used to doing what I do. And I'm fine trying some grip stuff and different, fun things because I don't normally do it. And I use that to mix it up for myself, to keep it exciting, to hang out with him because we have a good time, but also just to add some variety that I wouldn't normally add in for my own training. Okay? So I'll stay for a couple minutes if you have any questions. That's flexing with your friends. Make sure that you do make it to the gym, whether you have a friend or not. You could always make friends at the gym, and you could always have conversations and just be friendly in general. And you might meet someone at the gym that's already actually there that you start working out with, or you spot a couple times, and you have a conversation. Then you might find a lifting partner just from being at the gym and being open and, being a nice person. But go there, focus, do your thing. And if you have the opportunity to find someone, that you find a good training partner, just make sure that you don't get attached. And it's the same with any relationship, but don't get attached to the point where you can't work out without them. Make sure that you mix it up, not necessarily work out with them every day, because you don't want to get too used to it, because usually those types of partners, someone moves away, their job changes, they can't work out at this time. You don't want to depend on the person to work out. You don't want to be like, oh, you can't work out till 7? Okay, I'll come at 7. Now, stick to your routine. Make sure you stick to your routine. Try to keep it as regular as possible for you. Don't really go out of your way to change your whole routine. You could always just reconvene and come back the next time and train again. But I think it's really important, if you have a routine and one person can't work out at a certain time and they're at a different time, keep your routine and just meet back again on the next day. Don't change your own routine for someone else. If they have an issue, let them deal with it. Go to the gym on your own. Just my opinion, because changing the routine is more likely to throw you off your whole system than just working out alone. It's good to mix it up. It's good to keep training alone. I think it's more important to train alone than with someone, because then you're independent and you can make gains no matter what. Thank you for joining me for episode 133 of The Daily Mother Swole. Facebook Live, Periscope, and Busker, YouTube, and also on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. So you can find me live, Facebook, Busker, and Periscope, and also on YouTube later on, and on podcast form on those other sites that I mentioned. Also, check me out on Snapchat, Instagram. You could also find me on Facebook itself at Swolenormous, everywhere, musically, for some good, fun music workout videos. Check it all out. I will see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time for The Daily Mother Swole. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Flex Friday. Ho, ho, ho. Bye.